slept extremely well, and I woke up again and wanted to expound upon what I was talking about, the negative attention and environment and the best things you can do. Because what happens is, if it is triggering you, if you are around negative people and it sucks you in, it draws you in, whether you're upset because they're negative or you're upset about the feelings that are conjuring up within yourself, that's for you. That's the work you need to do, because that's what I'm learning always about myself. If I allow myself to be pulled into that, whether I'm upset that someone's being what I consider negative, or I myself am feeling negative, that means there's something still in me that needs to be looked at and confronted. And I need to recognize that and let that stuff go, or at least find a way to let the energy flow, to let it release. Because where attention goes, energy flows. And if you don't let go of what it is, because that's a form of resistance, you're just stuck in your own muck, your own crap. It's nobody doing it to you. It's you allowing it to penetrate your being, to give away your personal power. If you find yourself in an environment that you cannot handle, you need to know, learn your limitations, your boundaries, discern when it's time to walk away and get out of that situation. That is your wake-up call. And then also a question of whether or not it's something within you that is still so deeply rooted that you keep recreating those spaces, entering those environments, being stuck in those negative whirlwinds of discomfort, dis-ease, because that's all that is. The negativity is the discomfort, the stuff you don't want to feel. But I try to remind you, and if you've ever followed me, watched my videos, you have to feel it to heal it. The only way energy is going to move, the only way you're going to find your comfort is to sit in your muck, to get in that discomfort. Because the true comfort relies on you being willing to go through it all. There's no such thing as joy without pain, comfort without discomfort. It all is the same. It's your response and your reaction that are different. It's how you handle it. Because the only reason the muck, the resistance, the discomfort sticks around is because of the way you focus on it, the way you hold on to it, the way you, nobody does it to you, resist it. See, the resistance is the same thing as holding on. Anything that you hold on to cannot be released or let go of. So we're in a time where it's your choice and it's up to you. Whatever it is you focus on, you have to be conscious and clear. Be very concise on what it is you want to feel. Because even if you don't want to feel the discomfort and you want to just go straight for the comfort, those discomfort moments are going to come up because it's going to remind you, are you even appreciative and grateful for the comfort when you have it? Because a lot of times in my past, I recognized that it was really easy for me to pinpoint problems, to see something negative in something. Because for some reason during those periods in my life, I didn't feel comfortable being in my own comfort. It was more comfortable to be in discomfort. And I own that for that time of my life because it taught me the power of my mind, how I created those experiences. Because when I looked for something negative, boy, it was everywhere. And what you look for, you will find. It doesn't find you, except for that you are the one looking for it. We just think it comes to us. Oh, why do these things happen to us? Because we're looking for them. Because our souls are saying, okay, you still are harboring this. You are still holding on to this. And when you let it go, you will no longer find it. Unless you have like this little playful inner self like I do, which every once in a while it will show up and rear its ugly head at me to go, did you learn the lesson yet? It's a cosmic joke, and it's whether or not you're willing to find the cosmic giggle at those times. Because once you've healed yourself, and if something does come up from your past, you will recognize the difference in the way that it feels and the way that you react or respond to it. Because when we get really caught up in our crap, it's harder to let that go than it is to turn around and let it flow, let it go. It's easier to focus on it and be caught up in it than it is to let it go. Because it's a pattern, it's a conditioning. We're not told it's okay to be happy, it's okay to feel good. You are worthy of it. And that's what we're all trying to figure out and navigate in this life, in this day and age. Is that it's okay to feel good. And if you don't feel good, that's okay too. It's not about always feeling good, it's about being good at feeling. So you gotta feel it to heal it. You gotta go through the crap to find the golden diamonds, the sparkles, the life, the joie de vivre, the life, la vita è bella. But how much do you appreciate the discomfort as much as you appreciate the comfort? You don't have to hold on to it. You have to recognize it for the blessing it gives you. It's the blessing of discernment and the creation of polarities to show you how off you are swinging in your pendulum. You know, if you're caught up in negativity over here, you will eventually come back over here to positivity and extreme exuberance. And then eventually, when you really get to that growth spirit, you're not going to notice either one because you're just being bliss. And bliss is that both of them are together and they don't actually exist. But without the one or the other, neither one of them exists. That's two halves of the whole. The negative and the positive create the whole. And the only reason they show up is when you're off center and off balance and you're just swinging like a monkey. And there's no attention to your energy. It's just all like la 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 la. You know, we just need to come right back here to this moment to breathe. So I wanted to share that with you this morning. I hope you're having an amazing start to your day. Today, Dad made me steel-cut oats. Yummy! Breakfast in my tummy! I am going to go set up the kombucha. The tea is ordered. It will be here the next day or two. We have the sugar. I'm going to put everything in the 2-gallon jar. My sister might have to help my dad when I'm gone. So, yeah, let's get it started. Let's get this day on the road. So we are at the Taughannock Falls. We're gonna go check out the overlook. It's a gorgeous sunny day. Dad's got the binoculars. Fisheye, fisheye. Oh, if you could just smell all the flowers.
Yeah, this is all new. They did this over.
Look at these gorgeous flowers. I told the ninja we need to plant some of these beautiful, amazing aromatic flowers. Oh my gosh, I can already see the spray from the falls in front of me. Woohoo! Oh my gosh, this smells just amazing. It brings back my childhood, just in case anybody needs a good dose of healthy living. Nature at its finest. I'm loving the trees.
Ooh, there's stairs that go down. That is one impressive waterfall. Dad was noticing the eagle, or actually there's a few. What are they? What do you think they are? Hawks?
They're not hawks either.
Vultures?
Turkey vultures, I think.
So just to give you a little bit more of a beautiful view of this amazing Taughannock waterfall. This is literally up the street from my dad's house. I might have to have him drop me off so that I can hike and get closer to that. Maybe get a little bit of the water spray, right? So let's go catch up with Dad and my sister. It's so beautiful out today. Summertime, summertime. Gluten-free pizza, it's what's for dinner.
This is my food. This is what I'm eating.
Last video of the day, I did not get to making kombucha or putting it all together yet, but that will be for tomorrow. In fact, today I was playing with my sister's espresso machine, which I haven't played with since 2009 when Leilani was born. And I made up some really nice cappuccinos for me and my dad, or probably more latte, but using Califia. They have a creamer of almond milk and coconut cream mix. It's a bit sweet for my taste. So the nice thing is if you froth it in the frothing side, it dilutes it a little bit because there's more water added when the steam is going through. So we went to my sister's after that and brought some cardboard for her permaculture. And she was having a little bit of a rough time trying to get some things organized. So we had planned to go for Ethiopian food, but because the place was closed, and apparently closed through the 11th, we opted for Italian, this place called Ciao. I had a gluten-free pizza. I'm so happy for that. hallelujah, with garden vegetables and all. It was very yummy. And the food was good, and I was just happy to be in the presence of my family. But tonight I want to share an extension of a message that I'm working with on my own healing. This theme that is up right now seems to be very much around the focus. Do you focus on the negative, or do you focus on the positive? Do you recognize what is a blessing in your life, or what is a problem? See, this is where we go back to counting our blessings more than our problems. I don't know about anybody else, but when I was growing up, it was very common to hear that phrase, count your blessings. Do you realize counting your blessings are the same thing as saying, I'm so grateful, I am happy because of. But more often, and I think it's a lot of the conditioning that's happened through our media, and maybe the way we've been raised around the belief systems that, number one, you're not supposed to feel good enough for anything. And while you don't feel good enough, you also play the martyr that if I don't feel good, others shouldn't feel good. So you look for things that are wrong with others by discerning, or not discerning, by judging yourself and reflecting this comparison of what someone else has that you don't have. And out of that space of envy or jealousy, that instead of being happy for the person who appears to be happy, because you really don't even know if they're happy with what they have that you want. There's so much projection that goes on. There's so much lack of foresight because you think your insight is the right sight. Ooh. Truly, is your insight your true reality, your intuition? Or is it really this nearsighted, this mindset that's maybe upset and not right? Because when we project upon someone else what we think they're happy with, it's really about what we would be happy with. We see somebody with the life we want, and we get fixated on, gosh, must be nice. And more often, a lot of this comes from a conditioning, a culture of, if you don't have what someone else has, it's better to put them down, because then that uplifts yourself. There's nothing healthy in that. There is nothing mature in that handling. It's very childish. But even still, the irony in saying something is childish or immature, that's assuming the naivete and the pureness of the youth and nature in itself doesn't actually appreciate or can be kind, compassionate, and act maturely. I think that there are many children who are much more compassionate and more grateful and willing to share and be kind to one another than most adults who don't realize they've been conditioned to think the opposite of what they really, really do want. So putting someone else down because they have something that you want that you don't have, that's a wound. That's a deep wound. This wasn't the direction I was going with this message tonight, but let's look at this. Somebody's putting someone else down, even if nobody else hears it and it's the person who's saying it in their mind, because most of us start with a lot of dialogue going on in our minds. The moment we put it into words and actually express it makes it even more harmful to ourselves, more than anything. More than anything, it's harmful within. Because what it is that harm that we do to ourselves, within ourselves, is because we're not focused on what we have. We're not going within for our resources and our blessings. In fact, we're projecting out, going without, to assume that what is outside of us would make us happier than what we have right now in us, inside of us. Again, negativity really boils down to this wound, whatever it's about, it's still a wound. It's a recognizing, it's an unconscious recognizing that there's something missing. So the moment you're fixated in the negativity, it's because you think you're lacking. You feel without something when you have everything. We have everything we need. But we're so fixated on what we want. We think we lack. We're failing life. We're just worthless. That's a wound. And whatever it is you may feel you are lacking or wanting, if you could just take the time to recognize how absolutely beautiful you are, how blessed you are with what you do have, even if you think your life is shit. That's just a thought. But it's not real unless you truly believe it and you give it your power. And so that actually leads perfectly into part of what I was reflecting upon today. Each and every one of us has a story. Every one of us has wounds. And guess what? Nobody's story is better or worse or more impactful than another. It's our response and reaction that makes it such, or assumes that something is, oh, your story is worse than mine, or I don't feel worthy of my story because yours trumps mine. These ideas, because really what we're always doing again is comparing ourselves. And if we listen to a story that is something we could never imagine, and we feel it very strongly, like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine what that would feel like, because there goes our comparison. That's how we relate to one another. But you just need to own it and then recognize it, not turn around and shame or blame or feel that, oh, that's wrong, or judge yourself for it. We're always comparing, we're always judging, always. And here's where the key in all of this lies, is to just witness and accept without any need to judge beyond the comparison that discerns your opinion or your feelings about things, to not judge it in such a way that it belittles you or anyone else. Because every single person has a story that is important and it matters. That if you tell your story and someone else tells their story, it really doesn't warrant any comparison or any apology from both sides, in the sense that, oh, I'm so sorry, your story's worse than mine, or, this is the polarity. Our country is divided in this, you must choose a side, but God forbid you're in the middle and you're neutral and you don't choose a side. Political parties are ways of separating and dividing us. Same thing with this versus that. Choices I make versus choices you make. I can honor and respect where anybody else is coming from. I don't have to agree, but that's my own personal business. It only becomes a big problem when you're trying to influence in such a way that it's taking away from the other person, or you don't want to push yourself on someone. Let them decide for themselves, whatever that is. And so our stories are really just our life experiences, and they're not better or worse than anyone else. And this is something I witnessed from on and on. I mean, even myself, I admit, there are times I will hear somebody, my girlfriends and we share. My closest girlfriends, we have the most beautiful support. And we're willing to tell each other sometimes if we talk too much about something, or if, we will listen when we're struggling. But we also recognize, honey, I love you. Now it's time to turn around and get out of your story because it's holding you back. But never belittling one another or saying, oh, your story's nothing, my story's better or bigger. But what I see around me, I witness people so stuck in their stories that they actually don't want to hear anybody else's story, but they want their story to be heard. Oh, my life is woe is me, this or that. Creating this whole trauma scene. Meanwhile, other people have their stories too. And you want to be heard, but you also have to be willing to listen too. When you say, oh, this one, they complain so much, and then yet, meanwhile, that same person complains similarly, but doesn't see the same correlation in the judgment they've made about a person around them. Oh, what do they have to complain about? Look at my situation. These are just ways that our minds try to validate our suffering, as if, oh, look at me, I suffer more than that person, and they're complaining. What do they got to complain about? It's a martyrdom, victimhood story, and it's not healthy for you or anyone around you. And I'm really, really looking at myself and recognizing where and when I have gotten angry internally, because this is how I have learned to process and what I've been doing. That I have my own stuff. I got my own stories, but I'm not trying to inflict them upon people. I'm not trying to make people feel sorry for me. And sometimes I get a little aggravated when I'm around somebody who thinks their story is the worst story and that nobody around them suffers or that nobody else understands them because they're so caught up in their story. But see, that's my own working through, that I've been there. And yeah, there's a little piece of me that kind of gets triggered because apparently I still want to be acknowledged for what I've done and what I've put forth in my life. But I own that because that's mine. And it's also not mine to point out somebody else's crap, even though I can recognize and witness it. In fact, the only time you're pointing out someone else's crap or going off on someone, it's because you're feeling underappreciated, valued, looked at, recognized, acknowledged. You want the attention. Because when you call someone else out on their stuff, you're taking attention. You're making it look like it's about that other person, but it's all about you, baby. When you're pointing a finger at someone saying, hey, look at this, what you're doing. It's wrong. You've now made it about them, but it's always been about you. It's not about anybody else. So we have to be very mindful in our choosing of focus, because we can create the negativity when it's not even the other person. But pointing that finger makes it take the attention off of ourselves, even though that's exactly where it's coming from. The desire for the attention and projecting it onto someone else. So last final words on that is basically, we all have a story. And my story is not any more important than your story. And I don't have all the answers. I don't expect anybody else to. All we're doing is living this human existence, this thing we call life, and going through motions. But we don't have to make a huge commotion about it. Just be willing to honor whatever comes up, whatever we feel, whatever we witness. Let's just be more present and count those blessings, just like counting sheep as you go to sleep. Because your story matters just as much as mine. I love you so much. I hope this served and helped someone out there. Good night, God bless, and sweet dreams.